Leadership is the ability of an individual or a group of people to influence and guide followers or members of an organization, society, or team. Leadership often is an attribute tied to a person's title, seniority, or ranking in a hierarchy. However, it's an attribute anyone can have or attain, even those without leadership positions. It's a developable skill that can be improved over time. Leaders are found and required in most aspects of society, including business, politics, religion, and social and community-based organizations. Leaders are seen as people who make sound and sometimes difficult decisions. They articulate a clear vision, establish achievable goals, and provide followers with the knowledge and tools necessary to achieve those goals. An effective leader has the following characteristics: self-confidence, strong communication and management skills, creative and innovative thinking, perseverance, willingness to take risks, open to change, level-headed, and reactiveness in times of crisis. In business, individuals who exhibit leadership traits can ascend to executive management or C-level positions, such as Chief Executive Officer, CEO, Chief Information Officer, CIO, and President. Individuals who have exhibited strong leadership in the technology industry include Apple founder Steve Jobs, Microsoft founder Bill Gates, and Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. Leadership plays a central role in the success and direction of a business. Organizations depend on successful leaders to communicate its mission, vision, and goals, unite team members around those goals, and then achieve them. These capabilities are especially important in times of crisis. Hard decision-making is often required for the success and evolution of a business. Businesses often depend on leaders with high competencies and emotional intelligence to make tough decisions and solve problems. This level of trust and success often leads to positive, productive work environments that encourage teamwork, employee well-being, and strong work cultures that are attractive to top talent. Strong leadership is critical to an organization's competitiveness because it drives change and innovation. The best leaders keep an eye on changing directions in their industry, promote new ideas from within their company, and bring in innovative thinkers. How people become leaders and what makes a great leader have been the subject of study for centuries. The 19th century was dominated by the great man theory, which stressed that leadership is a unique, natural skill and that great leaders are born to the task. The following are some of the many leadership theories advanced in the 20th century. Trait theory dates to the mid-20th century and it centers on the idea that some people are born with certain personality traits that make them great leaders, such as integrity and self-confidence. Situational leadership is where the leadership style is adjusted based on the readiness or skill level of followers in a given situation. Contingency theory posits that effective leadership depends on having the right leader for the right situation. Transactional leadership is an approach where leaders reward or punish followers to achieve results. Transformational leadership is where leaders appeal to followers' values and emotions to transform the way they think and approach their work or life. Behaviorist theory encompasses a person's leadership skills are developed and trained as products of their environment. Behavioral theory is where a leader models certain behaviors, setting a good example for others to follow. Functional theory is leadership based on a collection of people's behaviors and group dynamics, not individuals. Path goal theory is where leaders set goals and smooth the path to those goals to motivate and drive performance. The terms leadership and management are used interchangeably, but they aren't the same concept. Leadership roles involve creating and articulating a vision and inspiring others to want to work toward that vision. But leaders might not be skilled at or involved with the day-to-day management of the work needed to turn that vision into a reality. Management is the oversight of the tactical steps required to complete the work and achieve the objectives. Good managers excel at articulating the steps required to complete tasks and holding people accountable for doing assigned work. Leaders can be good managers and good managers can be good leaders. Very often, managers are put into positions where they need to exhibit leadership characteristics, such as motivating and aligning employees to goals. Likewise, leaders often must take on management tasks, such as holding employees accountable for an organization's goals and vision. Some specific differences between leaders and managers include the following. What makes a great leader? Several attributes separate good leadership from great leadership, including the following. Strong, realistic visions. Clear and effective communication. Adaptability, flexibility, and creativity. Honesty. Patience. Resiliency. Emotional intelligence and empathy. Integrity. Collaboration. Passion. Fairness. Cultural awareness. Intelligence and expertise. Strategic and visionary decision-making. Persuade, motivate, empower, and inspire. Great leaders inspire people, motivating them to do what it takes to achieve the leader's and organization's goals. Former U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower articulated this idea when he said, "Leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because he wants to do it." Leadership styles. The following leadership styles are among the many commonly seen in business and other organizations. Affiliative leaders foster positive group dynamics. Authoritative leaders provide clear direction and require compliance. Autocratic leaders maintain complete control and decision-making powers. Charismatic leaders use sociable and charming personality traits to persuade followers. Coaching leaders teach and motivate others to reach goals. Coercive leaders force people to follow instructions whether they want to or not. Command and control, also called bureaucratic, leaders establish strict rules and regulations. Democratic leaders focus on compromise and group consensus, they include others in decision-making. Innovative leaders foster creativity and adaptability. Laissez-faire leaders take a hands-off approach. Pace-setter leaders use emotional leadership styles to drive employees to achieve goals at a high rate. Transactional leaders use a system of rewards and punishment. Servant leaders focus on serving the needs of the group and the greater good. Situational leaders adapt their style to different situations and people. Strategic leaders use different management styles to develop adaptable strategies. Transformational leaders motivate others to grow both professionally and personally. How to become a better leader? The workplace has changed dramatically over the last few years, with the increase of remote work and the growing importance placed on employee touchpoints, such as diversity, equity, and inclusion. There are several leadership qualities that can be refined to help individuals become better leaders. Become more self-aware. Great leaders know their strengths, weaknesses, and effects on the people they lead. They set a good example and model good behavior. One way to become more self-aware is to seek feedback from those people. Refine communication skills. Leaders should be effective and clear in their communication, they must also be good listeners. Communication should be based in openness, honesty, and transparency. This involves setting clear goals and expectations and giving regular feedback to employees. Connect with team members. Connections build trust, understanding, and bonds that are critical for successful leadership. The best leaders should get to know the personalities and capabilities of their team members. Encourage growth. The best leaders encourage their colleagues and their employees or followers' personal and professional growth. Encouraging growth strengthens bonds and trust between leaders and team members, and increases what teams can accomplish. Be open to change. Change is inevitable in business. Being open to it and encouraging new ideas and perspectives from team members can help leaders become more effective. Develop positive attitudes. Responding to negative situations and problems with positive approaches and encouragement is a great way to model and improve problem-solving skills. Seek out growth opportunities. Great leaders look for opportunities for continuous improvement and education. This can involve attending conferences, finding a mentor, and reading books on leadership. According to the United States Census Bureau, the number of remote workers tripled between 2019 and 2021. This shift to hybrid and remote environments has made leadership skills, such as flexibility, adaptability, communication, and empathy, even more important. With more employees working from home, it's important to focus on employee well-being and engagement. Leaders must develop a culture that includes virtual culture building programs, such as book clubs, town halls, mentorship programs, and other events. Leaders should also adapt their communication skills to hybrid and remote environments. This includes virtual check-ins, team meetings, and workshops to ensure everyone has a clear understanding of goals and projects. Additionally, leaders must trust that their employees are productive in their remote or hybrid environments and hold employees accountable without violating that trust. Leadership is a set of mindsets and behaviors that aligns people in a collective direction, enables them to work together and accomplish shared goals, and helps them adjust to changing environments. All leaders, to a certain degree, do the same thing. Whether you're talking about an executive, sports coach, or school teacher, leadership is enabling others to accomplish something they couldn't do on their own. Some people in formal leadership positions are poor leaders, and many good leaders have no formal authority. In this sense, leadership is something you do and not something you are. It is a person's actions, rather than their words or job title, that inspire trust and commitment. What's more, leadership is not something people are born with. Because good leadership is often expressed through behavior rather than personality, it is a skill that can be learned. How? Getting to know oneself is a key first step. The most effective leaders are highly conscious of their own thoughts and beliefs and show up with integrity as their fully authentic selves. There are many contexts and ways in which leadership is exercised. According to McKinsey analysis of academic literature and a global survey of nearly 200,000 people in 81 organizations, there are 4 types of behaviors that account for 89% of leadership effectiveness. Being supportive. Operating with a strong orientation toward results. Seeking different perspectives. Solving problems effectively. Effective leaders know that what works in one situation will not necessarily work every time. Leadership strategies must reflect an organization's context. For example, a situational approach enables executives to focus on the leadership behaviors that are most relevant to the organization as it evolves. Leadership is defined as the ability of an individual, group, or organization to lead, influence, or guide other individuals, teams, or organizations. Leadership is a contested term. Specialist literature debates various viewpoints on the concept, sometimes contrasting Eastern and Western approaches to leadership, and also, within the West, North American versus European approaches. Some U.S. academic environments define leadership as a process of social influence in which a person can enlist the aid and support of others in the accomplishment of a common and ethical task. In other words, leadership is an influential power relationship in which the power of one party, the leader, promotes movement/change in others, the followers. Some have challenged the more traditional managerial views of leadership, which portray leadership as something possessed or owned by one individual due to their role or authority, and instead advocate the complex nature of leadership which is found at all levels of institutions, both within formal and informal roles. Studies of leadership have produced theories involving, for example, traits, situational interaction, function, behavior, power, vision, values, charisma, and intelligence, among others. Thank you for watching this video.